Hey Trance family, Brandon Beatty here. Welcome to the fourth video in our series where we're putting together an uplifting trance track completely from scratch. I'm in Ableton. Again, guys, doesn't matter what DAW you're in, you should be able to follow along with these tutorials. So just to recap the first video, we put together the framework of our track, meaning we kind of came up with the intro, the exposition, where we're going to have a theme, the drop. The second video, we put together just a basic chord progression, just so we know sort of how the track's going to develop. And then in the third video, we took some time to make a sub bass, put in a kick, and get them leveled correctly so we have the basic framework of our track. I'm just going to move this sub bass MIDI lane over here, just so that it's where we want the sub to begin, because again, in the intro of our track, we want to sort of build up to the sub. In this video, we're going to start adding the mid bass layers. So we're going to create a MIDI track, okay? And we're going to stay organized. We're just going to give it a color, and we're going to rename it. Whoops. Let's see here. We want to rename this to mid bass 1. And that's because we are going to want to layer some of these mid basses, okay? And the first synth I'm going to drop in here, we're going to try Spire, okay? And this is where you can either take some time to make some mid-bass sounds if you want. Again, you can put on your sound design hat, design a couple mid-bass sounds, and then put them together in the track. Or you can use a sound bank, okay? Here's a couple just bass, sort of bass patches. Or we can pull up like one of these Alan Watts banks. I don't know if he has mid basses in here. Bass mid 1. So we'll give that a shot. Let's see what that sounds like. And I'm not going to get too much into the theory of like the mid bass patterns, because you can really be as creative as you want with these patterns, but we're just going to do a 2-beat loop here. And I think the most basic pattern you might hear is sort of this octave jump. And let's go ahead and make sure you can hear that. And that's very, very loud. So we're going to pull that down. And we're going to go ahead and duplicate that. All right. So this is where we want to pull up the VU meter. Okay, so we're going like 16 decibels above 0 there. That is very, very loud. So let's pull in our channel fader, and we're basically just going to crank this all the way down because I think it X's out at 16. Okay, there we go. And we will bring this somewhere around where on our channel fader it starts topping at about 20. And we also want to put the fab filter in here, okay? And we want to filter this down to about 225 hertz, do a high pass filter. That's because we want to leave room for our mid bass, or sorry, for our sub bass when the mid bass is playing. Okay. Let's see here. Yep, so we're pretty close to where we want to be with that level. And again, if we pull up our span, the spectrum analyzer, okay, we can pull up the sub bass. Sub bass starts playing here, and we'll put the mid bass to stretch that out all the way to there. So you see, if we filter everything below the mid bass at 225, we're not going to affect the area where our sub is. You see, we can add that mid bass. You see, when we take out the sub. All right. So this mid bass, I might even filter up just a little bit further. It'll be 250. We'll make it a tighter. Okay. We're gonna pull it up on span. Great. And let's hear that with the kick and the sub bass. I'll pull this mid bass down just a little bit. Okay. Doesn't sound bad at all. And we're actually just gonna go ahead and duplicate that layer. Name it mid bass 2. Okay, keep this organized, mid bass 1, mid bass 2. And here you could just use the same pattern. Okay. And we're going to pull up a different patch. Now he's got another mid bass in here. We could probably just use that. Maybe they're meant to go together. Let's see what that one sounds like. And why don't I hear anything? Oh, it might be an ARP. Yeah, I see. Right. And we're going to also check the VU meter. This one's only about 8 decibels, so too loud, so we're going to bring this meter back up. Okay, not bad. So we got like a nice little mid-bass section here. Now we could even add another one. Okay, that could be a little bit more of an accent mid-bass. So maybe we make these octaves higher and we delete the other sounds. Again, we want to change the sound, so let's go to a different sound pack. Maybe let's check out State Aspire. What do they have here? Bass, rolling, punchy. Let's see what punchy sounds like. That's cool. Maybe they're a little too high, so let's go ahead and lower this an octave. Okay, I mean, we're just getting ideas here. Maybe I'm not going to do that for right now. I think we're just going to add another mid-bass pattern, but we'll keep that in mind. I think we will eventually add like some kind of accent in there. So this is going to be mid-bass 3. And so again, we have like a pluckier sound, maybe more of a resonant sound for the next one. For this one, I think we just want a little bit of a harder sound. I guess we want to hear sort of what some different bass sounds might do. So again, some of these are not playing because I think they are, what do you call them? Sequences. So let's go ahead to the bass. What do we got here? Trance family. Okay, that's a cool one. Let's check the VU meter. Okay. I actually really love that bass. Okay. Okay. So now we have a couple bass sounds that we like. We are going to group these together. Okay. This one, mid-bass 3, mid-bass 3. Okay. And we're going to go into each synth here and turn off all of the effects. So on the first one, we're going to turn off the reverb, the delay. We do want to give it a listen. See if that makes a huge difference in the sound. Okay. Second one, same thing. Turn off the reverb, the delay. And same with this one. Turn off the delay. All right, again, we're going to put them through Fab Filter, filter everything down again, 225. That's just because we might get a buildup of some of these frequencies again from adding these sounds together. So we just really want to make sure that we're not getting any frequencies that are going to interfere with the sub bass. Next, we are going to put these through we're going to put the mid bass group, or we'll call it a bus, the mid bass bus. We are going to put this through a delay, and I like to use Replica from Native Instruments. You can basically drop it in, and it's basically already set to how we need it. We just want to make sure we're doing like a ping pong delay with like some kind of galloping rhythm. So this dotted eighth note sort of creates that effect we need. I'm just going to pull down the feedback so it's not too much. And just go ahead and listen to that echo and see if it's like too much, like that tail off. So this sounds reasonable. You might even turn up the mix a bit. Okay. And then we also want to put kick in here just to create that ducking effect. Again, if you don't have kick, you could also just take the compressor and side chain it with your kick drum. And that's one way to duck your mid basses, but I'm going to use kick. Sorry, kickstart. We're going to put that on the mid bass bus. Okay. And we're just going to pick one of these mid chains patterns. Just going to make it a little bit tighter. Okay. Oh, don't mind that clicking. That's just the boiler pipes. Okay. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do after we do our ducking effect, we want to just kind of pull up the mix channel and make sure that the mid bass is coming in around -20 decibels on the mix bus. Remember, our sub bass is somewhere around -21. Okay, this is not a bad mix. I can kind of hear everything together. We could even probably turn these up just a little bit more. Oh wait, we only have it soloed on one, so once we add all of these, let's see. Beautiful. Okay. And so what we can do now is, I think the last like little element we could create is like just a rolling bass, and it's slightly different than the mid basses. So again, we are going to pull a new MIDI track in here, and we're going to name this rolling bass. Whoops. Okay. Press and roll key. Okay, rolling bass. And the difference with the rolling bass is it's just going to be a steady rolling rhythm. Okay. And so it's just going to be 3/16 notes. Again, the same, taking up the same space as the lifted basses. But the difference is that it is going to be filtered slightly different, and we're just going to get another sound in here. Let's pull up silent for this one. Get a little bit more of a basic sound, basic mid-bass sound. And again, I'm just going to pull up like a sound bank. Could just pull in like this Alan Morrow one, bass bank, okay. And wow, that's too loud and too low. Maybe we turn off some of these effects. Oh, these are drones. These aren't even the mid basses. We don't want something too phasey. Okay, maybe we'll check out that one. We'll take out the reverb, the delay again. Not quite plucky enough. I don't know if, let me just try turning it up an octave here. And this is where we want to pull up the span again. And we really want about this range of this sound. So it's sort of the octave above the sub bass. We're going to call this rolling bass. And maybe we make these notes just a little bit shorter and we're going to, again, take out fab filter here. And we're going to do a high pass on this one. So probably about 60 hertz. And then here is probably going to be about maybe 100. And again, we also want to pull up span here so we can kind of see what we're left with. See if we can get it even a little bit tighter. See if we can line it up a little bit with that note. Okay, and let's hear what it sounds like when we add it to the kick drum. And this one we're gonna have to mix visually. So again, this is where we want to pull up the sub bass without the kick. We're going to go to span again. Okay. And make sure we're at a spot where the sub bass is playing. Okay, right there's our sub bass. And so we want this rolling bass to sort of come in at the same level as the sub bass. So once we mix it in, you'll see it start coming in. There it is, somewhere right there. Bring it down. Add it to the kick. Okay. This sound, we definitely want to make this a mono sound. So we're going to pull out the utility. Yeah, I think that's the issue with this sound. It's too stereo. And it's too phasey or something. You know what? I think I'm going to use a bass shot, actually. Okay. So yeah, guys. Sometimes this is where in your sample packs, we'll go to favorite samples. We'll go back to freshly squeezed. He's got some bass shots in here, which can be pretty good. I think we'll go with this one. Put the sample in there. And what's ironic is we actually got to set this to C. Okay. Not bad. Again, we'll pull up span, see where we're at with the level. Okay, so we want to try to get it somewhere around 54. So we're going to boost it a little bit. Beautiful. And there's still a bit of sub bass in there, so we're just going to pull it. Fab filter here and keep cutting it. I think we'll make this even tighter. Okay. Yeah. Terrific. So this one's going to fit just a little below our sub bass in the mix. Just to the point where when you add it in, it shouldn't be too noticeable, but when you take it out, you should notice a huge difference. Okay, and we'll add our mid bass. All right. And that's how we get everything mixed in. Again, for the framework and foundation of our track, I know that was I feel like that was a bit of a long video, but let me, guys, give me feedback if these videos are too long, if you want me to get more to the point. I know I make this a little bit detailed, but it's also so you can get the mixing right and get your tracks to sound professional. And so that's going to be it for this video. Again, we added our rolling bass, we added some mid bass, like lifted bass parts, and this is what we have. So I think next video we're gonna put together a little bit of percussion, just add some hi-hats, basic hat elements and percussion elements, and go from there. And then after that, we'll probably in the video following that is gonna be more like effects and sound effects and stuff like that, just sort of continuing to build the track. So all right, see you guys in the next one.